Okay, everybody, we are going to get right into this video about how we can use our fingers as tools in combination with our skip counting songs to come up with answers to multiplication problems. As you can see, our very first problem is 4 times 4. Now, if we think back to the video where I talked about the ways to multiply, we discussed how the first factor, which is this 4, represents the number of groups. We also talked about how the second factor in this scenario, this 4 represents the amount of objects in each group, and how when we combine those two factors, they create what's called a product, which is the answer to a multiplication fact. Now we're going to take those same components but relate them to our fingers and skip counting. Okay, so for this particular multiplication fact, our first factor of 4 is going to represent how many fingers we put up. Our second factor of 4 is going to represent what we count by. If we put all of that together, this is telling us we are counting by 4 until we have 4 fingers up. Now, before we actually get into this, I want to take a moment to practice connecting each of our fingers to a number within the song. So let's think about our 4 song, and we're going to count by 4s, connecting our fingers with each number. So I'm going to put my fingers out. So that would be 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, 36, and 40. So by the time you get to the last number, you should have all 10 of your fingers out. Okay? So now that we've practiced that, we're going to apply it to this problem. So again, I'm counting by 4 until I have 4 fingers up. So the next thing you want to do before you actually solve is make sure you recognize what that amount of fingers looks like. So we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to stop counting when my fingers look like this. But again, I am counting by 4s. So let's put that together. So that would be 4, 8, 12, 16. I found my first product. When I count by 4s and I stop when 4 fingers are up, I get a product of 16. 16 is my final product. Let's try another problem. Okay, our next problem, as you can see, is 6 times 3. I'm going to use skip counting songs with a combination of my fingers as tools to come up with this product. And I'm going to apply those same components that I did in the first multiplication fact. This 6 tells me how many fingers will be up. This 3 tells me what I'm counting by. When I put those two pieces of information together, I am counting by 3s until I have 6 fingers up. So first, let's practice our 3 song all the way through. Remember, put a finger up every time you say a number. So that's going to look like 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30. Now we're done. So again, by the time you finish your last number, you should have all 10 fingers up. Now, let's apply that to this particular problem. We're still singing the 3 song, as we can see by the second factor. This time we're stopping when there are 6 fingers up. So let's look at our fingers to make sure we know what our fingers look like when we have 6 of them up. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to stop when my fingers look like this. Right? Let's try it. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. I just found my next product. When I count by threes with 6 fingers up, that gives me a product of 18. Let's try another problem. Next we have 8 times 5. In thinking about the factors, that means I'm going to have 8 fingers up. And I am going to be counting by 5. So when I put those two factors together, I am counting by 5 until I have 8 fingers up. Now for this particular multiplication fact, we don't have a skip counting song. That's because we learned how to count by 5s in prior grade levels. So we're going to just take this counting by 5 and do it until we have 8 fingers up. So first, let's review what 8 fingers looks like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I have to make sure that I stop counting when my fingers looks like this. But again, I am going to be counting by 5. So that would be 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. I just found my next product. When I count by 5s until I have 8 fingers up, I get a product of 40. Uh-oh. These factors are much bigger than the other ones that we were working on. But guess what? That does not change what we do to come up with our product. Those two factors, we use them the same way as we would in any other multiplication fact. So that means our 7 is going to be how many fingers we put up. That also means that our 8 is going to be what we count by. So when I put those two pieces of information together, that means I am counting by 8s until I have 7 fingers up. So since we do have a counting by 8 song, let's practice counting by 8s and using our fingers as tools to represent each number we say. So that would be 8, 16, 24, 32, and 40, 48, 56, 64, 72, and 80. So by the time you get to the last number of 80, you should have all 10 of your fingers up. So now, let's apply that to this problem. We're going to stop counting when we have 7 fingers up. Let's look at our hands to see what 7 looks like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we're going to stop counting when our fingers look like this. Remember, we're counting by 8, so let's try it. 8, 16, 24, 32, and 40, 48, 56. We just found our next product. When I count by 8s until I have 7 fingers up, I get a product of 56. Whoa, that's a big problem. But guess what? We have exactly what we need to help us with solving it. In this scenario, our first factor of 9 tells us how many fingers to put up. Our second factor of 9 tells us what we are counting by. So when we put those two pieces of information together, we are counting by nines until we have 9 fingers up. Before we solve, let's practice counting by nines and connecting each number we say to our fingers that are our tools for this. So let's try. 9, 18, 27, 36, 45, 54, 63, 72, 81, and 90. We're through. So by the time you say all of the numbers, you should have all 10 of your fingers up. Now, let's apply that to this problem. We're going to sing the same song, which is skip counting by nines, but this time we're going to stop when we have 9 fingers up. So before we actually find our product, let's look at our fingers to see what 9 looks like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I'm going to stop when my fingers look like this. But again, I'm counting by nines. Let's try it. 9, 18, 27, 36, 45, 54, 63, 72, 81. I just got my final product. When I count by nines until I have 9 fingers up, I get a product of 81. We just saw 5 multiplication facts using our power in skip counting combined with our power of using our fingers as tools to help us through the process. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure at home you practice. Parents, you can give your children any of the multiplication facts between 0 times 0 and 10 times 10. Help them apply these strategies and using their fingers to coordinate to come up with their multiplication facts. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Everybody take care.